Hey, everybody. I am Alex. I am the CEO of Project 11, and I am also the last thing standing between you and lunch. So I'm going to endeavor to make this talk truly a lightning talk. So just first, what is Project 11? So we're an infrastructure company building to secure the future internet, starting with the biggest network of value out there, which is Bitcoin. And the idea is it doesn't end with Bitcoin. Ideally, we migrate and we start building for this world that we've all talked about this morning with all these interesting applications of quantum mechanics to cryptography. Not only leveraging the applications these technologies not only to break existing cryptography but to create new, novel, interesting things. But I'm not really here to talk about that today. What I want to talk about is an initiative that we're launching that I think all of you might be interested in. We're calling it the QPrize. So what is the QPrize? The QPrize is something that we're envisioning as an open initiative to try and unite and build a collaborative effort around to accelerate the day in which all of these technologies in this world that we're all kind of visualizing today is practical. And what is it for? Really what we want to do is demonstrate or create a competition rather to bring together talented engineers, developers, scientists, physicists from all disciplines and apply themselves towards solving some problem as it relates to quantum mechanics or cryptophysics, right? So as I mentioned, Project 11's initial focus is, helping to migrate or secure the Bitcoin network. And so our initial proposal for a prize for the QPrize is going to be recovering a private key from an elliptic, from a ECC public key, right? So effectively running Shor's algorithm to recover the biggest possible, on the biggest possible key, to recover the private key. So, we want this to be entirely quantum. No hybrid or classical solutions will be allowed, and there's money behind this, right? So this is an important point. 1 Bitcoin will be paid out to the winner. So, there is maybe somebody in this room has some ideas, some special optimizations, or some motivation to apply themselves against this. And some people may ask,
if I know how to do that, obviously I can get much more.
Well, if you could factor a full 256-bit key, the competition here is to factor the biggest key that you can, right? So I think if you could, at this point, you could factor a 256-bit key, yeah, Bitcoin probably wouldn't be worth what it's worth. Yes, actually, well.
Even Shor is hybrid, right? Because you have a quantum part and a classical part.
Fair, yes. So I kind of, bottom line is want this to be, we don't want people to run like take a supercomputer that's not using any classical or using any quantum components. Bottom line is we want to make sure that people are actually using Shor's algorithm, for example. But I just want to address quickly, why do this? Because I think, some people may have the question, hey, we have all this encryption, isn't it scary? We're using these algorithms to break this encryption. I take the point of view that, and this is mainly, I came from the blockchain space before, and so there's obviously a lot of cryptography focus there. And I think from a cryptography lens, we want to understand at a deep level how secure our systems are, right? And I think obviously it's more or less common knowledge at this point that Shor's algorithm can break existing cryptography, but I don't think it's ever been concretely put to the test. And I think it will be very interesting to learn what we can from this experiment, and maybe challenge some of the assumptions that we have around our timelines, around the urgency for migration, et cetera. But this is only one application of quantum computing that we've talked about this morning, and I think there are many other ways that we could incentivize this. I chose this because it's most relevant to Project 11 today, and Shor's algorithm is one of the most clearest demonstrations of an algorithm with quantum advantage, right? It was the original demonstration of quantum advantage. But in the spirit of collaboration that I would like to kind of start off with here, I hope that collectively, as a group, as an industry, we can come together and propose more prizes, and hopefully the QPrize comes, to become something along the lines of the Z-Prize, which is actually another initiative that I founded a few years ago. And it's kind of funny being in this room with all of you. Reminds me a lot of what it was like to be in the room with a lot of the cryptographers from across the cryptocurrency space when we were all focused on making zero-knowledge cryptography practical. And and Z-Prize was born from very much the same motivations that I hope we're bringing to the QPrize, and that was to accelerate the development of these technologies and these applications by incentivizing them through competition. And really, the idea being that competition brings out the best in everyone, And then a key piece of the Z Prize, which also is going to be a part of the Q-Day Prize, is all of the results, all of the applications are going to be open sourced. So this is going to be knowledge for the public good. And I really want to emphasize this point because I think it was very important in the development of zero-knowledge cryptography in blockchains. Collect the body of collective knowledge, which grew and grew, enabled the space generally to accelerate at a faster pace, as opposed to if all of that development had happened in closed doors. So, and as you can see, I just showed a graph here of, basically some of the results, which, were very impressive. And this is just the first year that we got by running a competition like this. And my hope is that with the Q-Day Prize, we can do a similar thing. So I talked about this, the first prize that we're proposing, which is to, factor a key using Shor's algorithm. Hopefully there are other ideas. Hopefully some of you, as you've heard some of these talks, have other ideas of other things that potentially could make good prizes or good competitions, and we'd love to collaborate with you as we go through and do that. And I'd like to actually just conclude. I'm going to go back to a slide that I had earlier, because as I'm sitting here and being part of this conversation this morning, and I'm very honored to be here. Thank you, Nicola and Alex, for setting this up. I just wanted to kind of, I guess, maybe leave everyone at lunch with a couple of just quick thoughts. So first off, I think, we're all in agreement that the use cases for quantum computers, are many, and I think possibly, have the potential to change the world in a very positive way. I don't think everyone in the world shares that view, but I do think all of us should take it upon ourselves to help, convince those people that think maybe quantum computers are only good for hacking, et cetera, that no, there's actually a whole world of opportunity aside from that this unlocks. Yet at the same time, I think we all have to be pragmatic and understand that, as we've heard in many of these talks, the technologies today are in their infancy. And so we can't oversell what we have, but at the same time, we still need to be able to inspire people to see the potential of what this can bring. And, as maybe I'll just say this as the only, or one of the few people up here who's not an academic, but is purely on the business side, I think building a sustainable industry around this is critically important, because that sustainability is what will get us from the early days that we're at today to this future where we have quantum networks everywhere, one-time programs, we're paying each other with quantum money, but that has to be done in a step-by-step process, and each brick needs to be laid one piece at a time. And yeah, like I said, collaboration, which again, I hope we're demonstrating our willingness to do that with this proposal of the the Q-Day Prize, and would love to, again, hear anyone's ideas on that front. But going forward beyond that and beyond this room, again, I would just leave everyone with the fact that all of us together can achieve far more than any individual company or person could alone. So with that, I hope you guys enjoy your lunch, and thank you very much for organizing this conference. It was a pleasure to be here. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I gave no details about the Q-Day Prize. Oh, and I actually closed. If you have ideas and you want to share those with me, either find me after this talk or email me. I'll pull up the slide here. I have my email on the last slide, so you can write down my email, send me a note. So the details forthcoming. We're going to be kind of collecting ideas for different prizes, and running this competition, sometime in the later half of this year. So more details to follow. And we'll be publishing more on our website. You can check us out, project11.com. And like I said, for any ideas, please email me. Thank you.